It said you had like 16 minutes. I got you. I'm good. I am in the chat. We are all set. I'm gonna tell them live in like 5. Really, thanks again, man, for dropping through.
Dude, yeah, of course, man. Happy to talk about the game, you know, regardless of the forum. So I'm excited, man. Excited to you know, give some spicy takes, you know.
Of course, man. And it's, you know, it's I know at least for me, you know, I'm sure we all watch your streams, but you know, for you to kind of somewhat to speak, come down to earth, you know, and just think what it's love like here, you know.
Aw, dude, no, you know what, man?
It means a lot to the community.
There you go.
Man, what was that? Let's do it. Let's do it.
What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone's having a good Sunday night. Obviously, first and foremost, shout out to Doom and Bloody for having me on, man. Really honored to be a part of this and really just to get to talk with you guys about Avengers tonight. So obviously, shout outs to you guys, and we're in for a fun treat here tonight, guys.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of gameplay, a lot of questions, a lot of interaction.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we hear you, bro.
Okay. It's all good. It happens, man. Listen, that's exactly it, man. Yeah. It happens. You know, for the first one is always about working out those kinks, right? Trying to figure it all out. So, I mean, it's gonna happen.
Okay, let's try this now. Can you guys hear me out there in TV land?
Well, I'm sure they can now. Hold on. Oh no, you're still muted.
Still right now?
Yeah, you're still muted, man. I think Bloody and I are good. I think you're the one that's muted.
Yeah, it's you, bro. That's crazy. We hear you though.
Oh no, there's my volume. I'm really low.
Oh, you're. Oh.
Turn up.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're still muted. Yeah, you're still muted, man. I think Bloody and I are good. I think you're the one that's muted. All right, let's go now. How's that?
Oh,
I can hear myself now.
I just said that's better.
We're good, man. All right.
Can you guys hear me in TV land?
Chris said he said, yep, we hear everybody now.
Okay, good to go. Sweet. Again, this is excuse us. Let's start this whole thing over. What's shaking, people? It's your boy Doom Killer HD. Welcome to Excelsior Podcast, Excelsior Now Podcast, where we take a gamer, YouTuber, Twitch streamer, or community member, put them in the position where they're most comfortable, which is playing games and talking. So this time around, we have my buddy, my good friend, High Ruler, and we have my guy, my co-host, Bloody Reckless. Say hello to the people, High Ruler. We already did this, but we're going to do it again.
No, man, it's good. Listen, as I said earlier, man, appreciate you too, Bloody and Doom, for having me on, man. I'm excited to dive deep into some of these topics and to play some games, man. I'm excited. Thanks for having me on, man.
No problem, boss. No problem at all. So, First
Dude, there's
things
a little
first.
bit of an echo. There's a little
Uh-oh.
bit of an echo.
Okay,
Everybody's saying
how
they say
about
a
let's
little bit.
let's see. Still
Okay.
still working the Kings, people.
All good, man. All good.
It's all good, man. It's gonna be an interesting night, man. Like I said, hopefully everybody's day is going well. Weekend's going great. Tomorrow's a work day, so we're just gonna live the rest of this night.
Oh man, I've been working the whole weekend, man. We're just
what?
continuing on tomorrow. Yeah, man.
Oh,
I have one of those jobs, man. Yeah, both yesterday and today, just at work. So, one of those situations, but it's all good. It's all good.
Well, you're relaxed with us, man. We got you.
Y'all got me right now because, I literally almost threw up just now, so we good. Anyways, guys, let's start off with the rebranding. The rebranding from a simple podcast to High Ruler. How did you come up with just High Ruler by itself, and what made you want to change from a simple podcast? Because that's what everybody knew you as. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess if you want to break it down, the name High Ruler came when I was like 11. And the idea was I was trying to come up with like my first online name, and I was 11. I was playing SOCOM 2. Probably shouldn't have been playing a third-person shooter at 11, but I mean, whatever. And I sat there one day and I was okay. Like, what do I want to name myself, right? Because I'm not, I was smart enough to, not name myself Jonathan, last name, whatever. So
Right.
I thought about it. Okay, like ruler sounds cool. And then I was like, okay, if you're a ruler, you're typically probably sitting above everybody, right? Like you're top of the ladder, top of the pyramid. So I was like, okay, like High Ruler sounds good. And then from there, it just kind of clicked. The rebrand though, the rebrand has been a very interesting situation because, as you said, most people know me as the Simple Podcast, right?
Right.
And the problem is, and I say problem, but it's a sticky situation because after the roadmap kind of situation or however you want to frame it, a lot of people probably were looking at that as content creators going, oh, okay, there's not really a lot to talk about within the next few weeks, maybe a few months. So as content creators, it comes down to like, what are you going to do in order to kind of fill that content? Now, the problem is when it comes to the YouTube algorithm, you either have to continuously upload or your channel goes stagnant, and then to try and reignite your channel is very difficult, right? So I was in a situation where it was like, do I move my content from Avengers into a wider variety of games, or do I leave that channel and hope to God I can pick it back up on a consistent basis in a few months? No good answer there. There's no good way to kind of approach that situation. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. So I went with the decision that I'm going to rebrand the channel, do a bit more variety, and I'm going to take a hit regardless. But it's to keep the channel alive and not just go down to like a once a week stream and maybe a video every so often, because that's really what it's going to turn into if you don't kind of take these steps now in order to kind of keep your channel in a healthy spot, right? So for example, to further that point, I put out a video about a Star Wars game, rumor, leak, or whatever. It gets 200 views, right? Now, a 200 view video for me isn't probably where it should be, right? Like an Avengers video gets 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000, whatever, right? But at the end of the day, like I have to make choices and sacrifices, even if it's in the analytics for the short term, in order to kind of drive long-term growth. And that's the way I looked at it. Like, I've lost a bunch of subs today, yada, yada, yada. But, at some point, you got to look at the short-term versus the long-term, and you got to make short-term sacrifices for long-term gains. And that's the way I kind of looked at it.
Well, dude, like, first off, I look at it for you as it's a good thing. You know what I mean? Congratulations, more or less. You know what I'm saying? You might lose a few subs because people, they might have looked at that and been like, "Who the hell? I didn't subscribe to a High Ruler."
Right?
Understandable. Right. Trust me, bro. They'll be back. You know what I mean? They'll be back. You'll gain all of those subs back. So don't even sweat that, man. It's nothing. As far as other things besides Avengers, man, like I mean, what are you trying to get yourself into? I saw a little bit of Star Wars earlier, so I was like, okay, what's going on? So what are you branching off into, sir?
Yeah, a little bit of Star Wars. So for anyone who's familiar with like MMOs, like Star Wars: The Old Republic, I play a little bit of that. I was playing the Aliens Fireteam Elite earlier. That's a really fun game.
Nice.
And honestly, it just comes down to like whatever I want to do at this point, right? Like
Literally.
I've kind of left it open to where the point is like, if I find a game interesting, I'm probably just gonna play it. You know what I mean? And
Nice.
there's once again there's issues and there's things to be gained from that, but at the end of the day, I'm just kind of taking the approach of like, right now I have an opportunity here to kind of spread my wings and to go into many different things.
Yeah.
And some of them are going to be misses, but some of them could also be hits. But I won't know unless I try, right? So, for example,
Right.
like I said, Star Wars: The Old Republic, an 11-year-old MMO, play that quite frequently. Today was Aliens. Tomorrow could be a totally different game, right? Like the doors are wide open, and wherever it takes me, and we'll just kind of see, what happens at that point,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, dude. As far as what I'm gonna be doing over here on Doom Kill HD on my channel, man. I'm trying to stick to superheroes, but I kind of want to branch it out a little bit. Like we've got Guardians coming next month. I've already got that pre-ordered. We've got, Spider-Man 2. We've got Wolverine coming. I am staying so far away from Midnight Suns. That is just not my thing. You know what I mean? But aside from Marvel, we also have some cool DC stuff coming out. We've got the Gotham Knights. We've got the Suicide Squad kills, the Justice League. Like, I'm probably more stoked for Suicide Squad versus Justice League than anything else right now. That game just looks like it's about to be crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's get my co-host in here a little bit. Bloody, are you looking forward to any of these other games that that isn't Avengers as of right now?
I am. A lot of people watch the PlayStation, whatever it's called, whatever, and they show games. Yeah. My mind's not the same, but you got Wolverine that's coming out. You got as mentioned Suicide Squad that's coming out. Of course, you got games that have been around forever, such as like games like Warframe, games that are kind of that kind of take the position of a particular game if it's old or you're waiting for a new version of the game to come out. So there's a lot. It's just I know at least for me, like it's almost like a relationship. You kind of fall so hard, and then it's like when it starts going a little dry, then you kind of get a little scared, and it's like what's going to happen next, and we're filled with anxiety, and then next thing you know, there's a crash. So.
Well, I'm actually glad you said that, Bloody, because that takes us to our next topic, which is the state of the game right now. So, like, that was perfect, dude. That's why you're my host. That's why you're my co-host, bro. Right there. But anyways, the state of the game. Let me go ahead and start this one off. So, the state of the game from launch to now is actually pretty damn good. I mean, if you look at overall where it is sitting right now as not a day one player and not a new player, just a general consumer, not a YouTuber or anything like that, just a general consumer, the game is okay. It's in a good standing. You know what I mean? It's not horrid. It's not trash. It's not the best thing ever. I mean, aside from the combat is the best thing ever. But to me, the game is in an okay state. It's floating the line though. You know what I mean? It could fall off tomorrow if the devs do something crazy. You know what I mean? But it's in the okay state. As far as we'll get to that next. So I'm actually let Hyrule talk on that. How do you feel about the state of the game, Big Boss?
Yeah, I mean, like relative to the start of the game or relative to 6 months ago, I would say the game in a technical side has steadily improved. A content side has steadily improved. So I would agree that like relative, like we had this conversation before where it's like relative to pre PS5 or next gen launch,
right?
The game's in a way better state. Relative to 2 months ago, the game's in a better state. And I think when you frame it that way, then yeah, I would definitely agree with you that the state of the game, technical gameplay, yeah, the game's in a good spot right now. Sure, yeah.
Bloody, what do you think, boss?
I think so too. I'll be the scapegoat in the room. Of course, we all can agree that we would like more content in the game, but I also have to play the other side of the fence too. From the beginning of the game, with glitches and people falling through maps, and I'm sure we all remember that, to where it is now, as was just said, we can really see. I mean, you can literally see the progress. I mean, it's like jumping over a hurdle, just in terms of problems, the game is really, really taking off. And, we can't, forget that we're not in a pandemic. So, that does play a role.
It does.
For them to still, give us content and, even though they cancel some dev streams, even though they say that they're going to have dev streams, but still cancel it still shows that they still have some sort of interest in their community. So sometimes it's the small things that to me matter more so than the larger things, because the smaller things lead up to the larger things. So it's great. I love it. And the combat is just like simply amazing. So,
okay.
But we all need, I think we're all in agreement that we would like more content. So
yeah, in-game content is where that's why I say this, the state of the game isn't good, but it isn't bad. In-game content right now is what we're lacking. You know what I mean? And like, if they were able to just throw all of the stuff that was announced previously at us, like, the cloning labs, the Omega level threats that we don't have, give us the actual real cut of the future Imperfect scenes, you know what I mean? Give us that, bring it back, you know what I mean? I'll play Future Imperfect again if they add in the Taskmaster scenes and the stuff that they cut out, because the people were complaining we fought Taskmaster too many times. I'm like, shit, at this point, give me Taskmaster again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In-game content is where we need that right now in this game. And that's where, I'm literally throwing spaghetti at the wall. I'm about to be doing all kinds. But it's not a bad thing. It let me realize that branching out isn't such a horrible thing for content creators. You know what I mean? Yes, you take losses, like High Ruler said, he lost a few subs today, but I am guaranteeing y'all it'll be back, and it'll be bigger and better, because there'll be not just Avengers subs, there'll be Star Wars subs, there'll be Midnight Suns subs, there'll be Guardians of the Galaxy subs. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. And I'm not going anywhere from the community. Y'all know that we, as a whole, we love our community. This is where most of us even got our jump start at. You know what I mean? So we're not going anywhere. But to branch out I think it's just something that content creators are allotted and allowed to do. You know what I mean? So congrats again, and good luck on your future journey, Mr. High Ruler, sir.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, thanks, guys. I mean, like, I like we said before this all started, like, there's a lot of people who are in that same position now. You've seen content creators, big and small, say, maybe it's time to look elsewhere for some of the content they want to do, right? And the hardest part is that when it comes to gaming nowadays, it's not just about games, developers, publishers, and consumers. It's about games, developers, publishers, content creators, and then consumers, right? Nowadays, games have a huge ecosystem that a lot of careers are built off of, right? Nowadays, you have publishers that work with content creators to filter and disseminate the information to an audience. And it's like a whole kind of symbiotic relationship nowadays. And unfortunately, when it comes to situations like this, a lot of the time, content creators who do this for a living are kind of left with their hands in the air going, what do I do now? And that's one of the most, and that's not to take away from gamers who are looking at this situation going, crap, I don't have content to play. If I wasn't a content creator, I'd still be in the same position going, I don't have content to play, right? But it's really interesting real time looking at it when you look at these content creators who have been with the game since day one, right, and all of a sudden they're kind of like, crap, like, what do I do?
What the hell do I do? Right.
Exactly, and it's one of those interesting situations to kind of to look at as like as someone who's very deeply embedded in that community, because it's almost like a real time kind of looking at it and going, diversification is actually really good, like and the unfortunate thing is, like, you never know when things are going to go belly up sometimes, right? And unfortunately a lot of us were caught kind of like, oh no, right? So yeah, I mean, like, it's really interesting because, like, as you said, content creators are, they definitely can branch out and try different things, but to be caught off guard a little bit, like a lot of us were, it's like, oh no, like what is going on, right? So yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's definitely crazy for sure.
Yes, indeed. Well, like, to continue, guys, you guys are like really good at this podcasting thing. I just want y'all to know, both of y'all, like you, especially you, Ruler, because you just literally led into the next subject, which was the Paul Tazzy.
Oh, I got some hot takes. You ready for this?
Please do hit me with them, sir. Let's go.
Okay, I actually got into a big argument about this.
Okay.
So the argument was, so you're basing the Paul Tassi article, which is based off the MPD numbers, correct?
Right.
Okay. So I was in an argument about this on my Discord, and now before I say anything, let me just say, August to August, looking at it, it's number 7, which is really good. Okay, let's not take away, it did sell well August to August. The unfortunate thing is that people are using this data set, which is an incomplete data set, to draw conclusions. Okay, now when I say incomplete data set, I mean you're looking at it without absolute numbers. So when I say absolute numbers, I don't mean relative chart numbers, which is 7 to 6, 6 to 5, 5 to 4.
Right.
I mean actual dollar values, right? So for example, when they talk about the Wakanda bump, right? We don't actually know what the Wakanda bump is because all we have are relative chart numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
Square Enix can come out and say it was a success. Crystal Dynamics can come out and say it was a success. To what degree, we don't know. So when these numbers started coming out last week, I was trying to tell people, you have incomplete numbers here. While they do paint a great picture, August to August, you also have to take into account that year to date, which is January to August, doesn't look that good. You're also taking into account August itself wasn't actually that good either. Number 8 on Xbox, number 15 North America PlayStation, number 20 Europe on PlayStation. Now, it's not the greatest. It still can be relatively a success, but I didn't like when people use these numbers without the absolute values in order to paint a broad stroke conclusion. And that's really what it is. Now, if you're just looking August to August, it's fine. It did well. It did good. The problem even with that is player retention numbers, average revenue per user. We don't have a lot of these things, though I could imagine that on Wakanda, they probably made a buttload of money from Black Panther skins.
Right.
But unfortunately, we just don't have the complete data set to start drawing conclusions. And what people were doing is they're drawing conclusions off an incomplete data set, and it kind of bugged me. So,
Bro, that's a hell of a take right there. Can I just say that? That's a hell of a take.
Something for you. So,
well, I mean, I look at it like this because I looked at the numbers from August to August, but then they did have the numbers from each month or whatnot, and when you look at it, it was really staggering. The numbers were very staggering. They weren't solid. Like, boom, we're number 7. We stayed number 7. A lot of that was the launch, the pre-sales, and when it went on sale and whatnot for like what it was like $20 or something like that on Xbox
and then you're looking at like Black Friday sales, Christmas sales, right? So like August to August is good, but I want to look at year to date, right? Because the first 4 months are off the launch of hype of Avengers, right? Let's look at January to August, which tells a totally different story. Totally different story there if we're using these sets of charts and statistics from this one source, right? I mean, the problem is that you can take your data sets from all sorts of different charts, and the way you stack them together can paint a totally different scenario. Unfortunately, we just don't have the complete numbers that people want in order to draw these conclusions, right?
You don't even know how many players are playing on PlayStation or how many players are playing on Xbox. You know what I mean? You do know on Steam, but that's Steam. And Steam is like like to me, it seems like CD and Square Enix were like, we're not even really concerned with PC. We got the console people, we've got the PlayStation people. We'll give them Spider-Man, you know what I mean, and we'll really condense our efforts towards that. That's what it seems like to me. I mean, what do you think?
To a degree, yes. But I would also say I wouldn't even draw conclusions off of one data set, which is Steam, right? Depending on who you ask, you can definitely get into conversations about Steam and how Steam numbers could be mirrored elsewhere. The problem is I don't like to take one specific platform and then extrapolate that into other platforms, right? Because once again, it's an incomplete data set, right? So when people were like, oh my God, it's 10K players on Steam, like that's cool. I really hope that sticks for the PC players, but I don't want to draw conclusions for PlayStation or Xbox based off of Steam, because there's so many different variables that you have to take into account there. And a lot of it comes down to is like, you go through the top 30 Steam games. How many of those are licensed games? Like maybe one at certain points, maybe a sale, right? The problem is like the audience and how the audience interacts with their games actually differs between each platform, right? For example, I'm sure you guys have heard the anime games do really well on PlayStation, right? Versus, at certain points in time, FPSs did really well on Xbox, and then PC was kind of like the total competitive people that were on like competitive games, whether that was a Quake or a StarCraft or a League of Legends, right? The problem is like these platforms interact with games so many different ways that to take these, once again, a Steam number and extrapolate that to other platforms, it just doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. And these conversations actually bug the hell out of me because I see it all the time. I see it all the fucking time. Sorry, can I swear?
Bro, come on. Huh?
Okay. All right. Just making sure. Dude, I'm just making sure. And then it just people draw these conclusions and it's just like, guys, really? Like, come on,
No, I hear you, dude. I definitely hear you. And I mean, I'm not even really a numbers guy like that. So I just thought, I saw that you were going in. So I was like, oh, yeah, we're definitely talking about Paul Tazzy. We're definitely talking about Paul Tazzy, sir. I just thought. Go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. This isn't even an attack on Tazzy because Tazzy's job is to take it and kind of write an article, right? So, his article, I didn't read most of it, but it was like just saying Avengers sold better than people thought. Fair, right? The rest of it, if he started trying to draw conclusions about average player numbers and the retention percentage and all sorts of stuff, then you could probably start picking that apart. But if it's just like okay, then if it's just like Avengers sold better than maybe you think, yeah, it's fine. That's fair.
That's pretty much what it was, and it said, see, this is what really actually made me throw everything in the bowl and throw it at the wall, right? Is this specific line, and this is not a quote. This is a line that I took, and this is what reading it made me say. It made me think Wakanda really saved the Avengers, and I'm like, why is that? I mean, they're saying that the numbers are what they are. I don't know the specific numbers. Nobody knows the specific numbers, right? But how did Wakanda save Avengers? Was it, that much of an impact? Did it bring more players in? How did it save Avengers? What about Wakanda made CD and Square Enix greenlight more heroes and more villains for next year? That's my question. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
If I could make a guess, there's a little bit of an echo, by the way, that they're saying in chat. If I could make a guess, what happened is that a bunch of people logged in. Now, once again, based off of the numbers from NPD and PlayStation, we know there wasn't a huge influx of new players, right? So I could probably imagine that there was a bunch of people of returning players and current players who dumped a fuck ton of money into Black Panther. Challenge card. They bought the Captain America skin that came out on the same day. They bought every single skin that Panther had. There was a fuck ton of money pumped into that game from current and returning players, and maybe some new. And because of that, they probably looked at that and they said, okay, if you pump out new heroes and they pump out cosmetics with those new heroes, people will buy them, right? And I imagine the money, and I'm going to take a guess at this, and I'm going to probably be right, that the money they earned from Panther probably dwarfed and eclipsed Clint and Kate together. I would
I'm pretty
probably
sure.
be very confident in that assertion. So they probably looked at the Panther money and said, okay, if you guys can do that next year, whether it's She-Hulk or Winter Soldier or Captain Marvel, or maybe a surprise Wanda or Doctor Strange, yeah, you guys are good. You guys get another shot next year, which I think it should regardless. I think the game should definitely should have gone 2022 regardless. But obviously, I definitely think, anecdotally, I'm sure you could ask people in chat, in the community, on Reddit, Discord, wherever, they probably dumped at least $10 into the game that day.
Yeah, well, I did not expect that people will freak out behind the first costume, the first VP costume that they did, the Civil War, not Civil War, but the end game, his solo suit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That thing, bro. Like I went into, I was just playing randoms that day, and bro, everybody who had Black Panther had that damn suit, dude. I was like, okay, that's money right there. Because I'm looking, okay, it's every lobby, and there's 4 Black Panthers in every lobby, and I got on the damn suit. And they got it on too. So I was just like, bro, that's a lot of damn loot. You know what I mean?
So I've heard behind the scenes that the MCU skins have done absolute banger of numbers for them. I've been told that from a source. I can't let it go. I can't say who, but I've been told that they have done absolute bangers for them, which is why they've continually put them out. So,
well, that makes all the sense in the world. You know what I mean? Yeah, of course. If it's making that cheese, if it's making that bread, if it's making that moolah, baby. Well, yeah, we're gonna keep doing it. You know what I mean? We got the little team sets. Y'all can have the sparkled Avengers if you want them, but I know you definitely want this White Widow suit, don't you? Yeah, go ahead and spend that 14 real quick. Yeah, we got you.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that either. Get your money. You know what I mean? Get your money.
Yep.
If the game can go from that, why not? You know what I mean? Shoot.
Yep. Exactly.
All right, Bloody Reckless, this is your time to shine, sir. Do you have some questions for Mr. Hyrule or myself?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You guys as content creators, guys like myself, we kind of look towards you guys when it comes to information, when it comes to just state of the game. So let's be realistic here. How long do you think, both of you guys, I guess we could start with you, Doom, first, and then Hyrule. How long do you guys think this game can actually last? What do you guys see as the potential for this game going forward?
Well, as Hyrule said, as long as they can see a profit from it, it'll go. So, I mean, how many of us are literally just itching for Captain Marvel, itching for Bucky, itching for Doctor Strange and Wanda and Vision, people, characters like that. If they, can get those characters out. Even in-game content won't even matter because people are going to be so freaked out about being. I know I'm going to be freaked out about playing with Carol, dude. That's the person I'm waiting for. You know what I mean? So as long as they can produce quality heroes. I'm not even going to talk about the in-game content because at this point there's still a top seller game. Quote, unquote, you know what I mean? There's still a top seller game without the end game, you know what I mean? So if they can,
right,
so I say at least through 23, bro. Like, to be honest, through 23, you've got She-Hulk, you've got, the whole, I'm just talking, this is not anything that's confirmed. You've got She-Hulk, you've got War Machine, Strange, Wanda, and Carol, you know what I mean? On top of whoever else, like Falcon, Winter Soldier, whoever else they may be working on or thinking of putting in the damn game. What's her name from the Inhumans? Quake, you know what I mean? I've heard things about Quake and stuff like that. So that's heroes out the anus, bro. You know what I mean? So they can keep going and keep it popping for as long as they want to be honest with you, because they'll still sell. How many people are going to buy the new Miss Marvel TV show outfits when they drop? shit, I don't even play as Ms. Marvel and I'm gonna buy it, bro. Shoot, how many people are gonna drop the new Kate and buy the new Kate and Clint Hawkeye outfits when they drop from the MCU? Bro, me and you, Bloody, are both Hawkeye mains. You're a K main, I'm a Clint main. So that's definitely 14, that's $30 right there from us two, at least. So, you know what I mean? Like, they can keep going, bro. And, I mean, the combat is so good in the game that what's stopping them? You know? Like,
yeah.
High Ruler, what you think, bro? How long you think it'll go?
I mean, I'm going to give a little more nuanced answer here because I think right now they're in a spot where they don't necessarily know what kind of game to give. Now, with that being said, let me back that up a little bit here because you have two sections of the community right now that one really likes single player and one really likes multiplayer, right? So you have people who come in for the game, they like the new characters, they like the storylines, and then they kind of leave, right? And then you have the long-term grinders here who want OLTs, they want raids, they want all this harder content, they want gear fixes, right? And the question is like, what player base do you cater to and which player base is going to spend more money? Well, I can tell you it's going to be the people who come back for the heroes that, you know, they want to play the new heroes. They want to get the new costumes versus the people who are screaming about new gear pieces, right? Because those people are only ever going to be satisfied by the nuance of the game. They're not really going to be satisfied by like the flashy bells and whistles, right? So I think it depends on which side of the player base they cater to. And then how fast can they cater to that player base, right? Now, if they go all in on just kind of like, let's get a bunch of heroes out there, and then maybe, you know, every 6 months we'll drop a raid, 8 months we'll drop a raid, right? Yeah, it could work. I can see that strategy working. You know, as someone who wants like a bunch of end game content, who wants raids, I don't really see the game moving in that direction because I don't think that direction makes them money. I see them kind of, I see them going in the direction of like, She-Hulk, Bucky, Captain Marvel. Let's throw these characters at the wall and get them to stick as quickly as possible because we know that based off the history with Panther, we do these big characters, we do them well, we're rolling in the money. So for me, I see them game going as long as they can get these characters at a reliable pace, and then everything else is kind of up in the air.
Right. Okay. I hear you. So I mean, we kind of saying the same thing. As long as they can get the heroes / and villains out, they can go. But that depends on them being able to work in this environment and at the pace that, to be honest with you, that the people who are literally showcasing the game can stand pretty much, you know?
Yeah.
Next question, Big Dog.
So this one's for High Ruler.
Okay.
High Ruler, you had a early question in the stream and a lot of the chat. Yeah, chat. We'll get to some gameplay. But one question for you, High Ruler, that was asked pretty early was if Avengers does really well.
No.
If they do really well, they asked, will you ever go back to being a Symbol podcast? Is that something?
No, Jazzy Butters, I won't. No. To be honest with you, as a content creator, it's very hard to stick to one game. And we touched on this earlier, right? To kind of open the floodgates up. Now, once again, this, you know, for a lot of us now, this could either be a sink or swim moment, right? Where, you know, we could try all these different games out. There's real no audience there. It's really hard to pick up an audience. And because of that, maybe we all go back into our Avengers shells and we never leave again, right? But to also go to that point, audiences don't stick around for multiple rebrands, right? You think about all sorts of rebrands you go through. At certain points, the more rebrands you go through, the less audience retention you get, the more confused your audience gets. So it's like, you know, if you do a rebrand, don't do it often, right? Don't confuse your audiences more than you really have to, which is why, like, it was the one and the only. And then, you know, if Avengers makes a rebound, that's great. But the branding doesn't dictate the way I approach Avengers content, right? Avengers content is Avengers content, right? It'll be videos, it'll be streams. A naming scheme doesn't dictate, you know, what I do in Avengers, but it dictates what else I do outside of Avengers. And I think that's the best way to put it.
Quick question from the chat. Ruler, symbiote suit or nah, bro?
Yeah, they like money. I mean, like, Spider-Man's cool. I mean, like, I'm gonna play Spider-Man, and I've always said the superior Spider-Man suit's the one I personally prefer. But like, I mean, you call a spade on this one, right? If they want money, they'll make symbiote.
They better, dude. They better. So no timed exclusive for Xbox. Yeah, I mean it's literally only on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Are they getting anything? Like, I mean, if you can answer that, if you know any, I mean, I know you might have.
Okay.
But...
So I said this in my video when I did the roadmap video. Is that there was a question asked when they said, so there was a question asked, and I'm not gonna be at liberty to discuss who asked it, but it was the question of, okay, we see that PlayStation has Spider-Man on a certain date, can't disclose that. Will there be anything alongside the other platforms to kind of make them whole, essentially? The answer is that the other platforms won't be left dry. Now, the question is, does that mean the raid is going to drop alongside Spidey? Possibly. We see him in the picture. Does that mean there's anything else dropping alongside Spidey? I mean, the answer is who knows, but we do know it's not going to be a hero. So there's no surprise She-Hulk. There's no surprise Bucky. There's no surprise anybody. It'll be a piece of content rather than a hero. Now, we just don't know if that content is the raid or if it's something else alongside the raid to go with Spider-Man. There's a lot of questions there that are very that the answers aren't very clear, and I don't know if that's by design or they just don't know it yet. But who knows?
No, I hear you. I definitely hear you there. I hear you. Thank you for answering that without getting yourself in trouble too, boss.
No, you're good. Listen, I'm well familiar with how to walk around these points now. So I mean, if you ask a question, I'll either be very straight up honest with you and say like I can't answer it, or I'll answer it to the best of my ability.
No, I appreciate it, dude. Appreciate it. I think that is it for the questions portion, bro. You feel like running an OLT real quick and we can, just show them how to podcast and play at the same time, boss?
Yeah, man, I'm down for an OLT. Why not, dude? Let's do it.
All right.
In chat.
Let me switch around some characters here. I've been messing around with the K Bishop, but for an OLT, I think it's only right to let's pull out the Captain America for this one. So we'll do that. Yeah, man, let's do it. I'll put on a nicer skin than the Gamma Captain America. I've been doing some things where it's like if I run OLTs with Chad, I say it's ugly skins only. But I'll embrace a nice skin because obviously I gotta make it seem like I'm doing something. Oh man, you know what? I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about leveling that Iron Man up and getting him some gear, and it's hard to. You got apparently no sound. Oh, I gotta run my Cade. Never mind. They want the Cade. Okay. All right, guys. All right, they'll get the Cade.
I don't know, bro. I don't
know. We'll see.
That's right.
Your Cade's probably way better than mine, man. There you go.
I don't know about that.
There we go.
Oh yeah, everybody's asking you to play Kate, bro.
Uh-huh.
Love it. I love it. me see. Should be. I do not want to run with a random. Yes, S3 is. I'll invite him. Alright, I sent him one. It'll be a while. He's on 4. Sound check. I think we're all good in terms of sound check. I think they can hear us.
Perfect.
Awesome. Doom, you're getting trolled in the chat already. Yeah, let's go, man. Let's really do this. This will be awesome. Oh God. All right. Ruler, I was on your side for the most part, man. But that skin there.
What's wrong with all right? Listen. What's wrong with Sir K, man?
Oh God. I don't even know if those are stocking or if that's paint.
No, those are stockings, man. I'll put mine on if you want.
Oh Jesus.
Are you sure?
I'd rather have the Hulk green face.
I mean, both are great. I mean, I could do both, and, you know. Man.
A certified hammer maker. You need to raise up your valor. Well, we'll see sad out the gamer.
Yep, S3's in.
He's in. Suki is okay with it and aiming straight for your head. Raising arrows with Hawkeye. My bag of tricks is ridiculous.
Oh, Jazzy did. Mr. Jazzy Butters.
Well, I'm revealing too much. Let's go. It's time Avengers assemble together. We fight as one, so the villain's starting to tremble. Let's go. It's time Avengers assemble together. We fight as one, so the villain's starting to tremble. Let's go. It's time Avengers assemble together. We fight as one, so the villain's starting to tremble. Let's go.
Yeah, let's just get some
Avengers assemble together. We fight as one, so the villain's starting to tremble.
He probably left, man. Oh no. All right, let's do it.
Yeah, let's get some gameplay, chat. Let's get some questions in.
Shout out to some of the
Oh God, don't say that, man. Don't come up with some crazy stuff.
On TV and the carrot scrap. Jazzy Butters, Road Game, and Black Wakanda forever. Kill Extremes,
No, Stardust is in a way like he's like my little brother. So for anyone who has siblings, I mean, I got 2 real siblings and then I got Stardust. I mean, I'm used to it. So I just treat him like a little brother, and that's how I do it.
Let's go. It's time Avengers assemble together. We fight as one, so the villain's starting to tremble. Let's go.
Because he hasn't gone through life to the point where it's gonna make him bald. He's still a young grasshopper. He's still going through
Basically,
yeah. Trust me. There'll come a point in time in life where many of us who chat will experience male pattern baldness. You guys just haven't experienced it yet. So take the blessing as you get them. There's not many left.
Let's go. It's time Avengers assemble together. We fight as one, so the villain's starting to tremble.
Yes, but not at the frequency people like. This has actually come up a lot in conversation recently. Once again, as I alluded to earlier, I've heard that MCU skins are doing very well. Now, the problem with that is that they're doing so well that they're leaning into them a lot. And for anyone who hasn't taken notice of the marketplace, is dictated by the weekly refresh, right? So every week they got to have something new in there to drive players to spend their money, right? Now, a lot of the time, those are some of the weaker skins, team sets, recolors. Now, the problem is that there's a very vocal but minority part of the community who looks at this every week and comes up with the craziest insults I've ever seen and throw them at the official Twitter account. The problem is that social media reaction doesn't dictate consumer behavior. Now, with that being said, consumer behavior is obviously dictated by the people who want to spend money on the game. And that's why you keep seeing these, right? Like every week there's another crazy skin out there. Gamma skins, Cosmic skins, Trilogy, Plasma skins, Lava skins, whatever it is, right? And then every few weeks or every month you get a new MCU skin. There could be a point in time where they kind of like want to step away from the MCU skins, not fucking likely, but maybe they have some time and some budget and some resources that they can allocate to a comic skin. It's just probably not going to be at the frequency that some of these people who want comic skins are going to like, though I wouldn't rule it out that somewhere in the future you will get more comic skins.
So you do think we will? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, of course. Like, I mean, like, you know, you hear it all the time. 80 years of Marvel history, you know, and they're not deaf to that. Like, you know, they know what they have. They know the IP they're working on. They just have to go where the money is. Like that's what it is, right? Like, you know, like a business has to go where the money is. Not like, you know, and the money, and there's arguments to be made, like the comic skins they've done haven't been a good representation of whatever. And that's fair. That's all well and fair. But I would imagine there's more legal red tape behind the MCU outfits than there are behind the comic ones, which is why you get a better representation of those skills or those skins versus the comic ones. I would bet my life on it.
Okay, alright. Well, I mean, I'm ready for some comic skins, to be honest with you, but I actually don't know if I'll ever take off the MCU skins I paid for. You know what I mean? Like, these things they're accurate, man. So,
yep.
You know, like,
and I mean that's the thing, right? It's like they're done well and they're done to the point of like people really like them. And to that point, the MCU is the biggest Marvel thing going on right now, right? Like, I'm a comic reader. Every week I go to my comic shop and, you know, I support the guy who probably hates my guts because I ask him every week where these comics are. But I go there and I spend my money. But I also know that, like, it's a small drop in the pond of what Marvel actually is, and the rest of that water is coming from the MCU, right? Okay. So I know that Marvel as a whole really pushes the MCU because that's the moneymaker. So I know that when it comes to these licensed games, they're gonna leverage the MCU because it brings the casual dollars, it brings the casual players, and because of that, it's smart business sense to lean into that.
Great ideas and great mind on that, bro. Like, I don't know, dude. They just need to drop the damn characters already and just call it. I know they can, but we need these heroes. We need this in-game stuff, bro. Like, I mean, I'm good with knowing that the Raid in Spider-Man is coming. You know what I mean? That's good to know. But at the same time, like, it's also making me want to throw my spaghetti at the wall and see if it'll stick. You know what I mean? Just,
I mean, that's the thing too. Is like, you know these things are coming, but the question of is when are they coming, right? And the when part is the nervous part. It's the part that kind of makes you go, uh-oh, right? You know, whenever these things come, you know, players are probably going to be pretty happy with them. Granted, if you're on the platform that supports Spider-Man, you're probably going to be happy. The other platforms are probably going to be very upset. But the Raid, ideally, is really good. Spider-Man himself, ideally, is really good. But then the question of, okay, what does the next month give you? What does the next few months give you? You know, because a lot of the time, a lot of the conversation nowadays has shifted from, okay, excuse me, they're reworking this part of the game. Now, is it worth it? What happens if the reworks aren't actually worth it? What happens then after that, right? And that's where the conversation is starting to shift now. And that's the problem, too. It's like, there's a certain level of uneasiness that's coming now with, like, okay, they're reworking fragments. There's the first part of the cosmetic rework. What if none of these things hit? You know, they're spending all this development resources working these things over instead of diverting resources into content, into whatever else they could be doing. And that's the scary part that people are starting to talk about now is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, that is actually pretty scary because I actually have not really thought about that like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's scary, bro. Like, I don't even really have any other words for that, but that's literally really scary as a content creator. You know what I mean? I've got other things that I can possibly do, but you know, Avengers was my thing. You know what I mean? So like, knowing that for one that they weren't too certain on content for the future is really scary. And then the fact that they may not even be able to put it out in time for it to even matter is to me even more scary, dude. Like, what?
Well, I mean, I would imagine in like the alternate reality where like Wakanda didn't do well, you'd still get some sort of 2022, right? You know, you'd still get something out of 2022. The scale of it probably differs, of course, but I don't think you ditch an Avengers IP right when things go tough, right? The part that you also have to take into consideration is that there's still another Square Enix game that's coming out next month, right? How does that look to players? Now, even though it's the one and done, how does that look to players that Square Enix ditches the IP that's bigger than the one that you've coming out next month, right? You know, like, oh, Square Enix says no more content next year, or can't confirm content next year, but hey guys, go play Guardians of the Galaxy next month.
Right.
And there's also that part you have to take into consideration as well. You definitely were always going to get a 2022. The scale of that, it would have differs between, you know, Wakanda that does good and Wakanda that does bad.
Well, yeah, that makes sense because why would you even? I mean, you would just literally put out whatever you have left after Wakanda if it did bad. You know what I mean? And then not even trip off anything else at that point. So yeah, I feel you there. I definitely feel you there, and it actually makes the most sense. What's happening, June? How you doing, my dude? Hopefully all is well, boss. Thank you for stopping through, man. Thank you for stopping through. There was a question that asked, what is your favorite MCU movie, Ruler?
Dude, I think it's gotta be Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Really?
Yeah, I was, so...
Why?
Honestly, it was, at the time, it was so different from everything else, man. I remember it clear as day. So, I was playing ball hockey at the time. First of all, for anyone who doesn't know, it's as simple as it sounds. It's hockey, not on ice, right?
Okay.
So, I literally... So, I was playing hockey the night it came out, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go see this fucking movie. And I went literally smelly as shit. I smelled like absolute ass, and I went and I saw the movie. Thank God there's no one around me, and I had the time of my life, man. And it was so good. And it was just so different from everything else. You had Rocky Raccoon, you had Groot, and you know there was this level of like, holy shit, like is this actually gonna work the way they think it does? And like, you know, you start off and you get these fun moments with all this music, and it's so good. Like it just provided like such a good time and a good atmosphere. And you know what? Like for me, it clicked. You know, and like there's some movies, and I'm sure you guys have these movies too, where like they just click, right? And you watch them and you come away and you're just like, holy crap, that was great. And Guardians was like that too, you know, and like not to take away from the ones that came before that or anything like that, but like just it clicked, you know.
I agree.
I hear you. I like Guardians a lot. I mean, it was a fun movie. I actually like Guardians too. That's like one of my movies. But I would have to say I gotta go more traditional, bro. Either Winter Soldier, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, or Civil War, man. Like those two movies, bro. They really, the Russo brothers just did their thing on those movies. I'll just say that much. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
They did their doggone thing, bro.
Like honestly, they did, and that's why like, you know, they kept getting, you know, the other movies, and then there's even talk like they were sort of gonna come back, or they still might come back, or whatever, like. You know, and that's because like the work that they've done is recognized by top Marvel executives, Kevin Feige and the rest of them, who are like, these guys, whatever they touch with the Marvel brand is like gold to the general audiences, right? You know,
Exactly.
Go ahead, Blood.
Carrillo, we also got some more questions, and I'm trying not to die here.
Yeah, whenever you get a chance to, man, go for it.
Do you think the next roadmap will be better than the current roadmap that was given to us from start to date?
Yeah.
Do you think so in terms of expand on that?
So is the question referring to the latest one that's the 4 months, or is the question relating to 2021 versus 2022?
We're talking. We'll say both.
Okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure like anything could be better than this latest one. I mean, I say that, and like, listen, I listen. My Discord for a long time was like in arguments over this, right? My personal opinion, I look at that roadmap and I think it's not as good as it should have been, right? Now I can understand, when it comes to patrol mode, for example. When it comes to patrol mode, it's got a lot of work to be done to it. I mean, everyone knows that what they showed was very bare bones. So I can understand that is going to take some time. Now, there's also arguments I've gone into, and there's people in here I've gone into those arguments with about Cloney Labs. But I think, regardless, I think it should have been on the roadmap, even if it is a kind of a black eye that you have to take. Yep. Now, with that being said, I look at this roadmap and I think, wow, it really doesn't have a lot of things to do. It has a lot of things that may impact the game, but as an active player, it doesn't have a lot of things to do. And I think that's where it fails. Now, with that being said, I would like to think that the next one, whether that is another 4 months or 6 months or whatever they give us, has more things that are active for the player to do. And that's not hard to beat because it's one character and one raid. If they can't do that, then you're in a totally different ballgame. In terms of a full year, if you're looking at January to January, or you're looking at, whatever you're looking at, the time frame, ideally, yeah. I mean, you get another big expansion, you get a couple of operations, you get that Ultron tease, maybe you get a Loki kind of finale there. Maybe you set some future things up. Ideally, yeah. I mean, it has to, right? Like, it has to. There's no question of like, can it be better or will it be better? The answer is it has to
be. That makes sense to me. That definitely makes sense to me. I mean, I'm not in the loop, so I don't really know what's popping, but I'm just hoping things are looking, just brighter. You know what I mean? Just brighter. You dig? Like in-game content. Throw us all of that patrol mode stuff. Throw us all of that, everything that you saying was gonna be too buggy. Just throw it at us, man. Throw it at the wall like we're throwing everything else at the wall. You know what I mean? Just give it to us, man. What's good with it, Sada? Welcome to the stream, bro, man. Thanks for stopping through. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
I'll rule another question. Being that you're really big into Marvel Comics, in particular, what's your favorite Marvel Comics storyline that you have read?
Superior Spider-Man. To me, that was like, so I came into comics about 2013, about that time. So I came in right around the time of Dan Slott writing Spider-Man and Jonathan Hickman writing Avengers and New Avengers. Now, I'm just gonna like self-classify myself as an idiot. So when I was reading the Jonathan Hickman stuff as is, I was like, this is too fucking big brain for me. Now I have the complete collection and I've read it and I'm like, okay, it all makes sense now, right? But at the time I was like, holy shit, like I don't fucking get any of this, right? But I was reading Superior Spider-Man at the time and it clicked, like very much so clicked. Which made me read going into what was after, which is Amazing Spider-Man, right around the time that Amazing Spider-Man 2, the movie, was coming out. But Superior Spider-Man was a great take on the relationship between Doc Ock and Peter, and how that was impacted moving forward, right? Which then led into Superior Spider-Man of the clone body, and the Doc Ock was going on the West Coast, doing everything in San Francisco. But I think if you don't have a great comic series in Superior Spider-Man, you don't get any of that, right? So for me, that's my number one. Yeah.
I would have to say my number one favorite comic of all time would be the original Civil War series.
Okay.
That comic, man, like I bought the book, you know what I mean? I had to. It was just that damn good. Like the relationship between Peter and Tony, and then that same relationship between, Peter and Cap, like, that was just, it was good, bro. It was really, really good. And, in at the end of it where, you right at the, big battle in New York, you think, oh, wow, Captain wins, and he gives himself up. You're just like, that's such a damn Captain America thing to do. He looks at the people and it's like, nah, this ain't it. This isn't what I was raised to do. This is not being Captain America. And he put his shield down and went and got arrested. I was just like, dude, this is awesome. And Wolverine and Luke Cage and them was like, yeah, I feel you, Cap, but we still gonna do our thing. So you know what I mean? It was just, and it continued. So Civil War for me, that was like probably, to me, the best written story ever. It was just that damn good, and it made sense.
That was Mark Miller that wrote that, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Appreciate you, June, dog. Appreciate you, bruh.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah, they're talking about your
really
your
well.
Superior Spider-Man right now, Hyrule. They're saying that you're right. The intro to that really pissed a lot of Spider-Man fans off, but by the end of that book, they were like crying for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like the intro to it was, it was crazy, right? Because like he basically takes over the body of Peter, and he transfers Peter's consciousness into the dying body of Dr. Octopus. Like it was not a good time to be around Spider-Man comics at the time, right? Dan Slott gets a lot of shit, and he's been getting a lot of shit recently over his Fantastic Four stuff. But I don't think there's ever been a bigger shitstorm that he's had to endure than during that time writing Spider-Man.
Right.
And as someone who was just freshly new into it, I could still tell that there was a lot of people that were very upset with that comic. But yeah, by the end of it, you know, when you get close to, you know, Peter starts appearing as the consciousness, and he starts trying to guide Dr. Octopus. And then you get the big return, and it's like, oh shit, like, okay, that now you get the complete story, and it's like, okay, this actually works, right? And I think that's, you know, unfortunately, you have to wait to the end of the story to get the complete picture. And
Right.
you know, some people don't want the complete picture. They want the complete picture faster than what they can get it at, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I liked Civil War so much, because you didn't need it to have, you know, an ending right then and there. Every episode of it, you know, every panel was like, you know, it pitted your favorite people against each other, and for good reason. You know what I mean? So like, you didn't have that, God, somebody's writing him bad, or I wish they wouldn't write him like that. It was like, damn, is this really what, you know, Jake Flag would do in this situation with Captain America not around? Or is this really how Hercules would act with the dead Thor? You know what I mean? So dude, I don't know. I just really love that book. It's my favorite.
There's a reason why they loosely adapted it, right? Because people did like that story, right? It was the story that resonated with a lot of people, right? So it makes sense.
Yeah, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, the video game, really adapted that storyline pretty damn well as well. I don't know if you played, you know, Marvel's Ultimate Alliance Part 2, but that game was pretty much based off the Civil War book. So.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I played a little bit of it, but honestly, like when I was younger, and I've said this multiple times. When I was younger, I played SOCOM 2, and that was it. I was a third-person shooter guy. I was an FPS guy. I wasn't into action-adventure games. I wasn't into superhero games. I'm going to come home from school. I'm going to put on my headset, and I'm going to shit-talk someone and just beat them at the game. I was big into competitive gaming, so anyone who knows game battles, stuff like that. So, you know, there's been a lot of conversations with people like, man, did you remember playing the Spider-Man game? I'm like, oh, dude, I actually didn't play that Spider-Man game. Like, no, you know, and it's like, a lot of people in this community grew up playing a lot of these different superhero games, whereas like I grew up playing a competitive arcadey shooter, and that's where my time was spent, right? But no, I did play a little bit of Ultimate Alliance 2, though obviously not enough where I could like recall certain things of it.
Right. Nah, that was a game that I played way too much. Way too much, man. Like, yeah, I was a super Ultimate Alliance game. But
right.
I did not like 3 though at all. I thought 3 was pretty bad.
I to be honest with you, I bought it and I didn't like it either.
Yeah.
Something about it just didn't, you know, click with me, you know?
Nah,
There's like some games where you play and you're like, okay, like this clicks with me. That was a game I like played and I was like, oh, that doesn't do anything for me.
It was a letdown, dude. I couldn't believe it. You know, especially such a fan of number 1 and number 2. Like number 1 was was, I mean, if the graphics would have been better, because I mean, number one came out on PlayStation 2, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's the graphics were not there at all, but the story
Right.
for that one was pretty damn good too. Like, it's a pretty, but the graphics for number two were just so much better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It outshined. It made number one just seem like a bad game, to keep it real. It really did. And it wasn't. It was a really good game. Really good game.
Sometimes graphics can do that, right? You can have like a good game that's like, you know, you look at it like, and it's a graphical disaster, right? Or you can look at a really pretty game and it's like a gameplay disaster. And it's like one of those things where it's like, you know, don't judge everything by the graphics because it doesn't tell the whole story. Though, you know, you can kind of gauge maybe how a game might go, but it's hard to know without actually playing it yourself, you know?
Right. But I mean, like I said, dude, it was a good game. It just those graphics, bro. They will do it to you.
Right.
They definitely will do it to you.
High Ruler, apparently someone that follows you by the name of Black Wakanda asked you a question. Whether you want to answer it or not is clearly on you, but he asked, why are you bald?
Why am I bald? Why am I bald?
What is wrong, y'all?
So,
Build a scientific for his enjoyment.
yeah, for his enjoyment. So when you have family genetics that aren't the greatest, you're predisposed to baldness. So on my mother's side of the family, it's kind of there that there's not a lot of people on my mother's side of the family with hair. My uncle doesn't, my brother doesn't, my grandfather when he was alive had very thin hair. So the unfortunate reality is I was probably fucked from the day I was born, and it just took a long time to manifest.
Not since the day you was born, bro.
Since the day I was born, man. And it started manifesting about when I was about 20-ish, around that time. I was just in college, and we were right around that time where it started hitting me. So yeah, I tried to live with it for a while. I tried to do the George Costanza thing, like live with it, where I looked, you know, I had the bald spot with the hair all around, and I realized just how crazy I looked, so I had to ditch it, you know.
I hear you, doctor. I hear you. Luckily, I'm a wee bit blessed. I don't have that to deal with just yet in life. Thank God, you know. Even though I'm grandpa age, you know what I mean. I still got it, bro. I still got it.
You got those good genes, man. That's all it is. Man. That's all it is.
I still got it, sir.
Another question from the chat asked, when She-Hulk is released, High Ruler, are you going to cosplay her as well?
Maybe. I mean, like, this is the thing that people enjoy. They enjoy me kind of doing dumb stuff, I guess. The Kate stuff was well received. The Hulk one the other day, which was just kind of green face paint. I looked like I had some sort of disease. Apparently, people love that. So, I got the paint. I just need a wig, I guess, and I guess to work out too. The working out part is where you lose me a little bit there, but you know, I'm sure I could work something out.
I hear you, dude. I hear you.
I was thinking about it today, man. I was on my Tinder and I was like, damn, if I worked out, you know, maybe this would go better. And then I realized literally an hour earlier I'd ordered food to work, and I was like, it's just not happening. You know? Like it's just not happening. You know, I am the way I am at this point. You know, at 28, I'm not ready to make big lifestyle changes. You know.
Hey, bro, you do what you gotta do, bro, and you do it well at the same time, my friend.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
Black Wakanda, I hope you're satisfied with that answer, because I don't think
You better be.
You better be, because that's a crazy ass answer, dog. That was an answer for you right there.
Okay, yeah, now you guys are going a little bit serious.
Yeah, let's take this thing out real quick, because I'm tired of looking at it.
Oh, I jumped at the wrong time.
All right, it's almost done, bloody.
There we go.
There it is.
Nice job, guys.
That door is too nasty. Anyways, man, thank you for stopping through High Ruler, bro. Thank you for
Dude, of
playing
course, man.
some Marvel's Avengers with us. This was like my first one, so it was really all trash, but I appreciate you anyway, my dude.
No, dude, of course. I'm happy to be on. I'm happy to come hang out with you guys, of course. You know, I enjoy, you know, obviously just shooting the shit and talking some games and, you know,
That's
just you know, that's what it is, man. You guys promised me a good time and I got it. So
I appreciate
shout out to you
that,
guys,
dude.
man,
Seriously.
for hosting, you know, because I mean, people don't know this, but this shit ain't easy. You know what I mean? Like, you know, try, you know, you saw it at the start, right? Trying to work out tech issues or trying to flow conversation, and you guys nailed it, man. It's not easy, and you know, shout out to you guys who are coming into this trying to get something off the ground, and you know, I'm just happy that I get to be part of it and to experience it, and you know, here's to many more episodes, you know.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you guys again, chat, for tuning in. This was a blast. It was scary for us. It was fun. It was an amazing time. I'm glad I really got to chat with somebody who I'm comfortable with. He long ago on his channel, and he invited me on. Actually, I kind of forced my way on his channel, but he said that he would be my first guest for my podcast whenever I was ready to do it. So I reached out to him. He did not hesitate. He even actually had a stream earlier today and still came on to do this. So another question, last question from the chat was, when do you sleep, bro?
Not often nowadays, man. Work's picking back up, so like I'm working. I think this week I worked. God, what did I work? What was it? Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, yesterday, and today, right? And so yeah, and then trying to do a lot of this stuff and try to, you know, juggle everything else. Yeah, there's not really a lot of sleep going on right now, but it's fine. It's fine. You know what? It's part of life, you know.
No, I hear you, dude. I hear you. Again, Mr. Ruler, bro. Congrats on the channel brand change up. Much success to it. You know what I mean? You say you dropped a few. I guarantee you will gain a few more, brother. So
appreciate
big
that, man.
ups.
Appreciate that.
Link will be in the description box of this video for his channel. The replay will be live in a couple of hours. I'll just leave it up so you guys can come back who haven't, or just people who missed it. You guys can come back and watch it whenever, man. Again, thank you for enduring our first episode of Excelsior Now podcast. Thank you guys so much. With all that said, laissez les bon temps rouler, which means let the good times roll. Peace out, people.